we interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you this live broadcast.
Welcome, everybody. We are live from the Quasette of Cannes Lions 2026.
And the entire global media and marketing industry has descended on this one strip of beautiful coastline.
But this year, we're doing something a little different.
Yep.
We'll be cruising along the Quasette in our podcast van, picking up leaders from across the industry.
And we're getting their unfiltered, in-the-moment takes on Cannes.
That's right. This is Commerce Media Matters, Cannes Lions edition.
Let's go!
We're into the final stretch here in Cannes, and today we're taking a step back to look at the bigger picture.
Joining us is media cartographer Evan Shapiro, particular audience founder James Taylor, and retail media strategist Colin Lewis. Three people who have spent years thinking about where media, commerce, and technology are all heading.
Oh, let's dive into it.
Here we go.
Are we hot?
We're good to go.
I'm hot.
Yeah. Well, Evan, thank you for joining us on Commerce Media Matter.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to see you. Feels like my Cannes isn't complete until we run into each other. So
100%.
happy you could join us in the bus. The
This
best
is a bus?
Well, it's
La
the
bus.
the van, the bus.
Okay.
And the best part is we're going to cruise around in some air conditioning on the course,
Yeah.
as opposed to melting like everybody else is out there.
It's nice to start early too. This is good. Just before the calm before the storm, which you're always part of here, aren't you? You're right in it.
I try to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be, but I do appreciate
Yeah.
you meeting first thing in the morning because I love this time in Canada.
Yeah.
This is before
Pleasure.
it gets crazy.
Yeah.
And you can walk
Agreed.
the streets in quiet and have a cup of coffee.
And
just
remember
watch
how
television.
and remember how beautiful Cannes is, right?
It can be without
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you get in? Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you obviously would have hit the ground absolutely running.
Yeah.
What are the key themes that you're noticing so far?
We're moving.
Yeah.
The key themes. Honestly, it has been pretty breakneck since I got here.
Yeah,
A
I'm
bunch
sure.
of stuff. I do think at least the conversations I'm in are both frank. There's a definite move away from perfection and towards progress.
Right.
I think in previous years there's been this. Well, how do we do this perfectly?
Yes.
How do we
right.
go on YouTube the exact right way? How do we and part of one of the main tenets, one of the core values of the creator economy, which is the fastest growing segment of media right now, is test
We want to get into that.
and learn, test and learn. Actually, that's the biggest theme.
Yeah,
is
100%.
creators own this
Yeah.
can in a way that
Well,
they have
they're on the
never
front
before.
page now, right?
That's what we were saying. It's one of the key things that
Yeah.
we picked out is, wow, they've moved from, say, a sideshow with TikTok in the hotels to literally main beach.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's all about the content creators.
Yeah, I think you have to give a lot of credit, and I know I talk about this company a lot, but YouTube has they property on the beach featuring creators for years now.
Yeah.
At multiple conferences here, by the way, not
Yep.
just at Cannes Lion, but also
But
at
the
MIPCOM.
MIPCOM,
They've
yeah.
invested a tremendous amount on bringing creators to MIPCOM. And it's been a great partnership between those two organizations. So yeah, I think you have to give them credit, but obviously Meta's here as well. They have a huge experience. We had a great panel at the 2B Cabana
Yes.
with a great
Shout out to our friends at
creator,
2B.
Coldest Joel. Joel, who is a great creator. I was with Wayne Davison from Little Dot Studios and Ross Martin from Known, and we talked about the mix of creators and brands. And frankly, Joel really features in his TikTok feed a really keen look at brands as creators. And that's another theme that I think you saw
That's really
creators in a different way, which is there are tons of creators on the beach, no question about it. But there are also one of my favorite things that's actually up for, I think, a number of Lion awards is the Kit Kat Heist. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And it's a great example. There's another one with Coach, Explore Your Story, campaigns where brands aren't just hiring creators, they are to work on campaigns and things like that. But also they're acting.
Hang on. This is the event. This is
It's happening live.
Podcaster.
There you go.
It's happening live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brand as creators. I think that's an exciting kind of move and shift, isn't it?
Right.
Because they're owning it as well. They're going over here. We can see where the move is happening. We're going to be in this space, and we're going to lean into how this has been done. And then Kit Kat's a great example.
And there's this, I think, misperception that brand as creators means putting a talent on camera. And by the way, something that came up, Joel Marlinton said on our panel yesterday is employee generated content. We talked about the Staples baddie as an example of this, but there is he features on his feed all the time a great employee driven PwC Luxembourg as an example.
Yeah.
Right. Restaurants that where the staff is the star of the social media feed.
It's fantastic seeing this.
Yeah.
It's really super engaging, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
And so with the creator economy, this podcast is all about commerce, media matters. Have you seen any advances in influencer commerce?
So we talk about creator economy as if it's this one monolithic thing, right? It's not. A lot of what drives influencer marketing, creator-led marketing is performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And that shoppability now of TikTok, you have L'Oreal talking about that on the Quasette. You've got a bunch of different brands talking about that now, and the ability to drive outcomes with creators. So there's going to be an inflection point in the next 12 months where companies spend as much or more money to boost the content that they make with creators than they do on the creator content itself.
Yes.
And so that's all driven towards outcome-based stuff, especially if it's on TikTok or Instagram.
I think TikTok's the fastest growing retail in the US. Is that correct? You
That is-
probably know that.
And retail media and retail budgets is exactly, so we talk about creator economy as if it's this esoteric things with ring lights and all this. No, man, it's fucking retail media. Unilever is moving tremendous amounts of its budget there. Procter & Gamble is buying directly. The number of relationships, we thought that the television channel would be replaced by the streaming channel, right?
Yeah.
To a certain extent, yes.
Yep.
But since we started there ad-free, for the most part, Netflix and everyone who ensued, a lot of what we used to think of DR is now happening on social media. And the channels are no longer ESPN and CNN and Fox News, but they're Creator X with 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
And it's Unilever's gone to 300,000 creator relationships in the last 3 years.
Oh, just
So the 1 or 10 or a dozen or even 100 television channels has been replaced by tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of creators.
Yeah. And it's easy to find as a consumer someone that you relate to. And I think that's what these creators do best.
The easiest.
Yeah, isn't it? So YouTube, obviously a great foundation. You had Google announcing Universal Cart, and they're playing to agentic commerce.
Yeah.
Not sure all the merchants are signing up to it yet. What do you see happening in that space in the next sort of 3 to 6 months?
I've talked about this before, and if you look at Google and you look at the AI race and you look at the infrastructure investment everybody's making, and then you look at why you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the two largest search engines on the face of the earth are Google and YouTube.
Yep.
Now, increasingly,
And
number 3 is TikTok.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
However, if you look at everyone's big fear for AI, for Google and others, but mostly Google since they're number 1, is search, that it will kill search. And what isn't happening is that Google is replacing search with agentic AI, AI search, and now increasingly going down to the product level and connecting it to commerce. So I think if there's someone poised to combine media, AI, and commerce better than anyone, they are the suite of services that seems best presented far more than, let's say, Microsoft, who has OpenAI and they have Pilot, and it doesn't feel fully in it, and certainly doesn't go down to the commerce level.
Yeah.
Amazon, great, but their AI is not necessarily called best in class, and their video product is, I would call it meh.
Okay.
Their recent moves, though, for the one-click purchase in their CTV environment looks interesting.
It's amazing. And they have a really big and fast-growing CTV OS to support that.
Yeah.
That's great. If more people watched Amazon stuff, it would matter.
Yeah.
Which is why they're doing deals with Roku, by the way, and they're doing it. So, no, don't sleep on them. They are asleep on. Yeah, they have deals across the entire television universe, without question.
And they like to play the long game.
Yeah.
Speaking of Roku, the purchase with Fox.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
Can we unpack that? Love your thoughts on that.
So I talked about this the other day. If you look at Fox's portfolio, first of all, Fox as the example of trad media, transforming.
Yeah.
I think they're doing it better in video.
They're a
and
sexy
TV.
trad wife now, aren't they? Trad media.
So you start with Tubi purchase,
Yes. Yeah.
which has turned out to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Now a profitable company. It's one of their gold stars on every earnings reports. Right. Fastest growing. Their CEO is brilliant. Angeli is just amazing. Their whole team is great. Right. Creator, and they have a whole creator sphere, which really sparked the whole race in Fast and AVOD. They're more AVOD than they are Fast. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then they invest. They sell Disney.
Yes.
They unload all of this trad media at the top of the fucking market.
Yeah. He says that he talks that all the time.
And he outplayed Bob Iger.
Yeah.
He outplayed, he put Brian Roberts and Bob Iger against each other and bid that fucker up to too much money. And Disney still hasn't swallowed it. They're still $60 billion in debt. So if you want to know how the Paramount Disco Bros merger is going to go, look at what happened to Disney after they bought Fox. They're still swallowing that mouse.
Yeah.
It's not down the gullet yet.
Yeah.
The $60 billion underwater still to this day.
Yeah.
So you look at Paramount,
and then they waited, right? They did that deal, and then they've patiently been building in the background, and then
Fox.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they invest in Red Seat Ventures. They invest in Whaler, and they just got a piece back on that because Whaler sold their agency to Accenture Song.
Yeah.
They have a investment in Holy Water, which is vertical.
Ah.
Way before anybody else in trad media got into that. They have a great deal with Darman Studios. So they are doing creator stuff, and they're playing the new economy game in a way that none of the rest of trad media is doing. And then they buy Roku. And now that solves a major problem for them, which is a huge part of their audience between Fox, Fox News, Fox Sports, and the rest is over 55. This gives them almost half of YouTube's usage on television in the US goes across Roku sets. Almost half of Netflix's usage in the United States goes across Roku sets. Almost half of Paramount, Peacock's, half of Disney goes across Roku sets in the United States, the best television market in the world.
Who are you giving kudos at Fox for this?
Lachlan Murdoch, I'm not a fan of a lot of things the Murdoch family has done across their career. My ringtone is Succession.
Yeah.
So, but since the Disney sale, Lachlan Murdoch has proven himself to be the best CEO in trad media. And if you look at him,
exactly.
If you look at that nepo baby with a traditional media company next to the other nepo baby with a traditional media company, which is Ellison, it's night and fucking day, man.
Yeah.
Paramount is going in the wrong direction.
Is that because of the media heritage in the blood in his bones?
I think whatever he. I don't know what to tell you. What makes a good leader and what makes a bad leader, and I think you're as likely to be. Look, my daughter works for me, so it's those who live in glass houses should throw stones. So the point is like Jane Fonda's a great nepo baby. There are people who earn their place regardless of how they were born, and Lachlan Murdoch is turning into one of those people. David Ellison absolutely fucking is not, and every decision he's made since he took over Paramount has proven that. Hiring Jeff Shell, hiring Barry Weiss, these were terrible hires. Everyone knows it. This adding old audiences, 2/3 of Warner Brothers Discovery's audiences over 55, 2/3 of Paramount's audience across its entire portfolio is over 55. What are you gaining going $80 billion in debt and spending $111 billion to buy this company? You're proving that your daddy loves you. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, right.
Whereas Lachlan is just going out and killing.
But it's multi-region too. I mean, Roku is so massive in Latin America too, right?
Say again?
Latin America for Roku.
Yes, I mean, but their primary segment is the United States, North America. Yes, Latin America, they have a big inroad there, but their control, most of their 100 million users are in the United States, and that's what makes it so valuable. It's by far connected television advertising on the planet Earth is so. More usage here than anywhere else, but also disproportionate revenues. The rest of the world is still maturing as it comes to advertising on connected televisions, and there are a number of different reasons for that.
Just unpacking this a bit further, just kind of a little bit further. One thing I'm always impressed by you, no doubt, and I'm not trying to. I'm Australian, and I'm not trying to blow. The wardrobe's always there.
For those that are just listening, the wardrobe's on point, the hair's on point.
The AMI shirt is. All right, so. What I want to know is you have such a phenomenal way of making market predictions.
Okay.
I want to just understand a little bit. What are you surprised by? Maybe something you've just been off the boil a bit, or you may have missed, but you're actually impressed by? Like, has Lachlan impressed? Is that impressed?
Yeah,
Would you make that a big call? Like, fuck, you didn't see
I
this.
would no.
Like, this has blown me away, and
Totally.
kudos to the guy.
100%.
Yeah.
And by the way, kudos to, I mean, he has a great team surrounding him at Fox, and he lets them perform. There's a sense there internally, from what I get, is that they're here to take big swings, but they're here to take big. Pete Distad, Rob Wade, these are really smart motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
And across the board, Angela Sud, these are really smart people who are allowed to just do. I have had jobs like that, not as big as any of theirs, right? But I've had jobs like that and not been allowed to do what I thought was the right thing. And so it just, and look, the partnership with Neil Waller at Whaler Media, like that's really ballsy and smart, like way ahead of the curve. And the sale to Song Accenture proves that out. So there is that. The other part of it is I've been striving for more than a year to put together a cross-screen attention index to compare all of the platforms that we use generally. Side by side, phone versus television. And there was a theory behind this, which was I believed that more video usage in particular was happening on phone than happened on television side. Is that true in your life?
Well,
Reels.
and I'll tell you, Paul, we know this because you and I said this other day. The only thing we're watching on those screens is live sport.
That's it.
Everything else is on
big screen.
Yep.
Yeah, on big screen, and maybe your favorite box set when you've got an hour after you've a busy day. That's it.
So we did a poll of Americans, more than 3,000, and we did 2 of them. And we asked, where was your top 3 places to watch video? What do you think number 1 was?
in the toilet.
That was in the top 5, top 3 for Gen Z.
There you go.
Whilst watching TV.
This was just video.
Just video.
Yeah.
Social?
Any video, that was the question. So toilet was number 5 overall for Gen Top, but it was number 3 for Gen Z.
Yeah.
40% listed it in their top 3.
So
number 1
at work.
That was number 3 for Gen Pop.
Yeah.
In bed?
In bed was number 1 by a lot, actually.
Okay.
Number 2, it's obvious. Come on.
That's
couch.
I think it'll be that's obvious.
Yeah, with when you're watching CTV.
Yeah.
Doing both.
Yeah.
And I
Right,
find myself
exactly.
end up watching more on the mobile than the show that I was watching.
And then
Three-quarters of people of the general population say they have a phone in their hands and they're doing something on their phone while they're watching television, right?
Yep.
So, and we asked them, what's the number 1 device that you use to watch video? For general population in the United States, it was 59% to 28% phone over TV, 15% tablet and computer. For under 55, though, it was 2/3, 1/3 phone versus television. That was surprising to me. I sensed that it was the majority.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be that overwhelming, and I didn't think it would be that disproportionate in the amount of attention on an ongoing basis. We also, alongside that, we were striving to create a cross-screen index, measuring the platforms from phone to tablet to computer and television. And we've accomplished that. We dropped it a couple of weeks ago, and we were able to rank all of the major platforms side by side, total cross screens for total attention from December of last year through May of this year. And what we saw was YouTube was number 1 because it's the only one that serves phones and
experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 2 for the Gen Pop was Disney.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
You think about Disney Plus, you think about Hulu.
Of course.
This is just Americans.
Yeah.
Number 3 was Netflix.
Yep.
And it spilled out. Under 54, though, TikTok pops to number 2.
Yeah. Right.
No television experience.
Yeah.
And YouTube number 1, TikTok number 2. And so when you look at the amount of time we spend on our phones watching video, it's a really different ecosystem than when we just think of television versus social media. And when you talk about your use case in particular, I'm sitting there watching TikTok or YouTube while I'm watching television.
Yeah.
You have to think of the whole consumer.
Which is also exciting, right, from an opportunity perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at the microdrama movement of the last 2 years, what that has portended when you look at this other data is that there's going to be a premium television experience coming to vertical in the next number of years. Much more diversity in the quality of programming on vertical than there has been.
I just loved an article in the Wall Street Journal recently about a creator who was a criminal drug dealer on the East Coast. I think it's maybe Atlanta. He's generating $2 million a year in revenue. After he pays his costs, he's making high six figures. He's in his 20s,
right,
and he's making small, micro dramas in the streets.
Oh, wow.
And it's turning up on Tubi. It's turning up on here, and he goes, "It's the same. It's this. I learned the business. It's the same business. I learned it on the streets. Now I'm doing it as content." And I think that it blows my mind, because that on times 1,000 times more is just happening, right?
Yeah, well, when you look at that, or look at what we're sitting in a van, you guys, have mics here. You call yourselves creators, though, right?
Well, that's it.
Yeah, well,
Great segue. I was going to say to you, ESHAP, what are you?
Creator-led business.
Creator-led business.
And by the way, everybody who works with us really thinks of themselves as a creator as well.
Yep.
We create with numbers and visualizations and things like that. But I think
we're creators.
I call you. And you're also a studio.
Yeah.
And so that's I think the blurring of that line is really crucial.
Yeah.
Creators are studios. I ran into Darman yesterday. He's as much, have you ever visited his operation in Burbank? It's incredible.
Yeah.
How much? Huge studio. Yeah. Got 200 people working for him. He's putting out original content with Samsung. He's putting out original content on YouTube. He's doing original content with Fox. He's doing original, it's a machine.
So all those old lots are being bought up by creators?
Well, yes.
Sorry
yes,
to digress there.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, and he is expanding, and then you look at Beast Industries and some of the others as well. But even Smartless is now its own studio, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to reimagine so many. If you look at, I think the best example of somebody who's been doing this from the get-go is World of Wonder. They do RuPaul's Drag Race. If you look at that company, they've from the get-go been talking directly to their audience. They own most of the rights to the shows that they produce. They still maintain the Drag Race brand around the world. They have their own direct-to-consumer streaming service called WoW Presents.
Yeah.
Has almost no churn.
Yeah, right.
Wow. And that revenue, that recurring revenue stream from that kind of level of affinity, that kind of fandom, allowed them to greenlight their own film called Stop That Train. Stop This Train, Stop That Train.
Yeah.
And it just opened in theaters.
Yeah.
And they're self-distributing, self-produced. That's a creator studio from the jump.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They've been doing it, and they've been greenlighting their own stuff all along the way as a result of that. But if you look at Darman, that is the new version of that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But everybody with a camera this guy doing movies on the streets, he's a professional. That's his career.
Oh, that's
right?
And he's killing it.
So he's not just a creator.
He gets studio as well. Yeah.
And that's what I think this Cannes Lion is really proving out, is each creator. When you talk to a creator on the beach at Google Beach or at Meta Cabana or whatever the fuck, Tubi Cabana, they are a business. They are in business. They're standing on business. And they are. And very often they have handlers and managers standing right beside them, ready to make a deal. Sometimes not. But they are the next Warner Brothers.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more.
Evan, we could talk all day. But our time is coming to an end.
Yeah, you got to drop me off.
Can I just finish? That couch and TV experience, the connected TV with that phone. There's certainly something that Vudoo is trying to solve is making that experience seamless between the two devices. The outcomes piece.
Yeah.
Tell us, where do you think you see that going? That's what we're really interested in. Are we going to see, creators earning, a piece of the pie on selling products? Is this the next frontier for creators?
Well, you're seeing it happen already. We talked about TikTok Shop and Google's application, and that's only going to increase. So creators as retail media is going to become something incredibly important.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I think you're going to see the Disneys, the Warner Brothers, other people
going
vertical.
Yeah.
They're already doing
vertical,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so solving it, and there are two different reasons for it, and they have the same goal, which is better outcomes.
Yeah.
The consumer and the advertiser both want better outcomes right
Yep.
now. They want to be able to connect what they find on vertical to the thing they watch on horizontal.
And they want it all in the same experience.
Correct.
They don't want
You never want to have to jump.
No,
That's
they
exactly right. You know who also wants that? The advertiser. They
Yep.
want the audiences built across those experiences, and they want the outcomes measured. They want
and the
better
data in between.
attribution.
They want the
Correct.
data in between. Yeah,
That's exactly right. So
Yep.
whoever solves that wins.
Yep.
And I think there are a couple of companies poised to do that right now.
Yep.
But those who solve that gap, for the audience in discovery
Yep.
and connection, and for the advertiser in audience and connection.
What a great way to finish,
Mate,
Evan.
electric.
Always amazing.
Always electric with you.
Always on point with the
Man,
book.
thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Have a great can.
Yeah, you too.
I can only think of how manic you must be.
James, welcome to Commerce Media Matters, live from the Corset.
Great
in
to have you on the
Cairns.
show. Finally, we've wanted this for a while.
That's right.
Well, you do. You know, I'm amazed at mate you getting around.
It's flat out.
Yeah.
It's flat out. But
Good on you.
I have to say, it's a small market.
Yep.
Yeah,
People buy from people before they buy from brands.
Yes.
100%.
And when I came to Cannes in 2024, I didn't know that many people.
Mhm.
And 2 years on with all of the travel and event investment,
Yeah, well worth it.
I know everyone.
Yes.
It's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
you just got to do it.
Yep.
If you don't do it, shame on you.
No,
It
absolutely.
was interesting. The Salesforce CEO,
Benioff.
Benioff, was saying, with all the AI changes he's making, where he is doubling down is the people investment in the business development and sales side.
And the
Because you just
in-person.
because people still want to do deals with people, and
Correct.
and that's what Cannes is all about, I guess.
Yeah.
It's this is my 5th year, and I've seen it evolve, and people come to do those deals.
100%.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And in like pre-COVID, we had this business development model of a BD rep will set 6 meetings, 12% will convert within 6 months
Yep.
for an average.
Classic
company
kind of
like that.
SDR kind of, yeah.
And then the VC boom through COVID meant that there were many, 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 many more SDRs, and inboxes were full, and phones stopped getting picked up, and placed them with the AI
Yeah.
boom. It's even more noise. That's right. Like, of course, it seems obvious, but the human element is what matters.
It's
right?
critical.
Absolutely critical.
100%. You need to buy into the trust, the real person. And so what has been the word on the ground from you so far for Cannes? What's the theme of Cannes for you so far? What's the insights?
Well, all the English people are complaining about the weather.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they're
So-
seeing with the chance.
So you're flying in on Sunday. You've had a massive one. You've had an incredible breakfast. I heard yesterday morning. Tell us about the breakfast. Tell us about the content, and what was the audience's reaction? Was it engagement?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of people love to engage in Cannes.
Really nice format. So IAB, Mary Claire and I did intros. Then we had Rory McDonald from Warehouse Group, Noel Leeming. He's also about to announce a big new role back in Oz. And we interviewed him.
Yep.
He's a customer of a particular audience. So
Yeah.
see there was a nice synergy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there were these 5 round tables, 8 people a round table, or 5 or 6. And we gave them 3 topics. It's like, what's the impact of AI on the customer, the advertiser, and the retailer? And it's like that trifecta. And we've just contributed a whole bunch to the IAB's recent State of the Nation on AI and retail media report that came out.
Yes. Shout out to Vudoo's own Andrea Hill-Morgan.
She reported back and said it was a fantastic format and it was super engaging. Yeah.
What were the common insights across the groups?
So customers not really shopping completely on AI at this stage.
So just discovery.
Great for comparison, great for discovery. Question was, when you get 3 items returned by an AI to consider, is it really considering everything?
Yep.
And does that matter? And I think actually it does matter. And, customers not getting a complete full look at the full availability like you do on Google Shopping. And even that's getting trickier to really know if you've seen everything. There's obviously a bunch of benefits to advertisers and the automation around ad ops that previously would have been very time consuming, and everyone talks about fragmentation. And actually, the more you can automate, the more fragmentation is okay because you have more time and resources to achieve outcomes. So what I realized as sort of a broader theme is that tech vendors like us, and maybe you guys, sort of hypothesizing a bit as we go, right? Like, we should build this. We think this will work, And the retail media networks are kind of similar. It's like, we think this should be our proposition. We'll see what works. And lots of stuff doesn't work, and some stuff does work, and the stuff that works is great.
Yeah.
But Nicole Lazinski stood up from Nestle and she like slammed down, here's how it is at a brand. Like here's what we are using it for at an advertiser right now. Creative optimization, localization of creative, that kind of scale piece, how they're sort of synthesizing data across different RMNs that come in and trying to align it all. And then I think that the most exciting thing to me was she got into the crux of profitability of a business, which is, can they be using data from retailers better for better demand planning and in their factories? And
this is the brand, right? The brand. Who's our customers?
And I said to her, okay, that's great. Who's doing a good job retail wise about giving you the data that you need for demand planning? She's like, DoorDash. Traditional retailers, far less useful data. And to me, I'm like, okay.
Is that because they're protective still? They're still so protective of their data.
The tradwives of retail. They think I've dropped that twice today.
Traditional wife.
They think that that's going to impinge on their negotiation with the suppliers. Maybe it will. I don't know. But there's obviously clearly a data monetization opportunity here.
Yeah.
Hey,
I would say last year with retail media, they turned up on force here in Cannes. And it was early days. It was, they're, infants, would you say?
DoorDash or...
No, just retail media in general were here in force. And it was very noticeable last year. It was the year of retail media almost. And this year, it seems like they are all, got the table stakes, and they're now looking at off-network to activation and those sorts of things, and how they can bring that all together. So that data piece that you were just talking about, it seems like they're now ready to look at that and work out how they can make that work harder for them. Would you agree with that?
2 years ago, because I was in this last year, there was, Target, Albertsons, that they had their own,
the big guys,
cabanas and things. Everything was a bit less certain, and AI was completely uncertain in the narrative. This year, it feels like legitimate adoption, much more confidence and certainty about where everyone sits in retail media and the sort of specialist trajectory everyone's heading on. And just the adoption of AI, this just seems legitimate. Like there are actual applications actually being used as actual results.
That's been the key theme as well. Results, demonstrable, what we're seeing. I want to talk about that and just come back to something from the start. From where I've sit, you're one of the original AI companies for me, because when I watch you when you were founded and being in retail in this space, I saw you as I said, come up, you've founded I remember actually I think it was my wife came back and said, hey, we had PA pitch us at Vudoo Group.
Right.
So I've kind of been following you for quite a while, stalking, but that's another way of looking at it. I'm pretty sure. But I've been super impressed. So you've been, for me, when I think particular audience, I think AI, right? Honestly. So I know the way that you're positioning, you're really leaning into that because it's your strength, but I feel others in the space are kind of getting to that point. But for you, you've always been there. How's the conversation shifted for you? Can you think back 2018, 2019 or 2020, I'm not sure, but to now, has it changed much?
Yeah. Lovely question. And thank you for following us for that time. The company I used to run did e-com personalization, but it was all rules based. And I was like, what's machine learning? What's surely there's something smarter than this. It's so time intensive and the results were hit and miss. And I started looking into what is machine learning. And I was just like looking at jobs. I was like, so what machine learning jobs are going? And you go work at Spotify and there was a machine learning job there, but it was an engineering role. And it's not exactly, I'm more of a commercial person, product person. And I was just like, there's no jobs. So if I can't find a job in AI in 2016, I'm going to start an AI company. Right. What do I know? Retail.
Yeah.
And then I came across a book called Mining Massive Dataset, which had been co-authored by the former head of technology at Amazon.
Right.
Who had subsequently had a startup that Walmart had acquired, and he'd built out Walmart Labs. It was all about information retrieval and approaches to recommendation systems and search engines and aggregate data, and just really thinking about how you can store and filter and present information in a very automatic way. And I was always impressed with Amazon. It always seemed pretty relevant to me. It's a different website for every customer. And in this book, he defines personalization as just good prediction. And I used to have a prediction market startup years ago, finished in like 2011 to 2014. I've always been very interested in this kind of technology. So I launched with recommendation systems. That was really successful because at the time there was a lot of manual curation and manual work and pinning and bestsellers and sort of simple logic like that. That got really successful. We added retail media in 2019. It's too early, really.
Yeah,
a lot of retailers coming on the last 2 years, really. We launched a search product, keyword search, no AI. awful.
Appreciate the honesty.
Great honesty here. Getting it live on Commerce Media Matters from James Taylor. This is fantastic.
And then we spoke for ages about well, what's semantic search or vector search or AI search, and how do you just vectorize and create coordinates for 100,000 SKUs in hyperdimensional space with no base?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
And then LLMs came about to 2022.
Yeah.
In 2023, we'd sunset our keyword search and launched adaptive transformer search.
Yeah.
Transform is the same T in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's the same underlying technology. In a very low latency environment, it doesn't have time to reason. Like, when you type in ChatGPT, and it's like thinking.
Yeah.
And then
you can see it now.
Yeah, you can see the whole logic.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have time to do that if you're trying to return search results of next 1,000 items.
That's right.
In 400 milliseconds, 300 milliseconds.
Yeah. It's all about the speed.
So then it's like, okay, well, we can use this to infer what we think the intent of a query is and how that maps to products. And then we can use the reinforcement learning of how people search and what they click on to sort of shift those vector scores. And the closer the proximity in three-dimensional space of items, well, the more relevant they are to one another. And if the query embeds somewhere in the middle, then the items closest to it are kind of the ones that you'd see at the top of the ranking. And then the ones that are further from it are at the bottom of the ranking. And the ones that are miles away, the hairdressers, the hairdryer when you're searching for T-shirts, is not even in the results because it's just so far away in space. We're talking 3 dimensions. There's over 700 dimensions in our search model.
Wow.
So it's
amazing.
I can't imagine what that looks like. But
Well, it sounds like you're doing a good job at imagining it. Right? You got in there. You're doing it.
And then with the whole interoperability with LLMs, you've got model context protocol and making sure that all of our services are enabled behind that, and seeing which retailers can move quickest on building really interesting functional app experiences or even ad experiences within these AI. And anyone that's saying, "Oh, just expose your catalog to an LLM and you've done the work," is missing. Quite a thing.
That's table stakes.
It's all about relevancy for you. Is that, am I saying, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but it might be. I am, but I think I've got that right. And good advertising is about relevancy, and that's something Paul bangs on about as well.
Waste of a pixel.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you think, what do you see in 3 months? How is AI going to reshape retailing?
In 3 months, because it's moving so fast.
Yeah. You can't predict 6 months. Or can you?
You've got this like head and tail of what's happening macro, but then you've still got this. Some of the big retailers are working off 6 to 12 month procurement cycles.
Yeah,
and
exactly. We've heard that. It's been a bane of some of the conversations.
We're all in that RFP world with retailers, so we know how long it can take.
And if you're hypothesizing what you think you need now, and then it's not going to be live for like 12 to 18 months, you've pretty much got something dead on arrival.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Because we're in startups who understand that if you kind of have to iterate,
you have to be scrappy and move,
test and learn.
Product market fit changes every week. The market and the product changes, constantly striving to keep those two things in the same.
VCs love product market fit that changes every week, don't they? It's like, you not got product market fit. We always had it. Yeah, we had it. We changed it.
The market's changed. So do you think retailers are going to be able to adapt that quickly?
I think they have to.
Yeah.
And I think you'll start to weed
Who's
out.
starting that race?
I've been really impressed. I mean, obviously Amazon and Walmart.
Walmart.
Target.
There's an announcement every day from
their
Walmart
store
and Target. Yeah, they're doing well.
Target's really doing well.
Yep.
Best Buy.
Yep.
The question is, you've still got Kohl's, Woolly, they're just too slow. Yeah. They got to speed up.
Yeah.
And even their internal structures and silos and formats don't
allow for that.
One of those retailers has a situation where you have a dev team that's internal and they quote, and there's a P&L in that team, there's a P&L over in this commercial team, and they got to get a quote from the other, and then they got to prioritize. It's like, what are you talking about? Like Amazon did completely the opposite. It was like, right, you're a pod. There's your engineering resource in your pod. They're only going to work on this thing, and therefore this commercial endeavor is going to be successful because they're going to enable that.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think there's a complete transformation piece that has to happen.
It has to happen. There's a panel. Do we get some procurement guys on their impact on innovation within retail media? We need to do that.
We should do a panel.
Yeah. Get procurement guys in there. They'd love it. They'll go white, grey and sweat.
And it would be a really exciting and interesting conversation.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Super.
Can you imagine?
We love you, procurement friends.
We love you. We love you, everyone at the big ones. All the big ones we're talking to.
Well, they're the good ones. So
Exactly.
So you're saying that it's going to require some structural change at some of these more traditional retailers to keep in touch with the big guys that are doing it well.
Yeah, and I think there are examples where retailers have tried and it's not really worked too well. And,
Yep.
you know, at the risk of calling anyone out, you know, there's a massive DIY retailer in the US, and they had this great idea that they were going to open a innovation center of excellence in India. They're working off 2-year cycles, so it hasn't really achieved
And 2 years,
2
like you
years,
said, it's
Jesus
redundant
Christ.
by the time it's ready
Yeah.
to publish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's cross US to India directives, but not a whole cohesive, always on communication.
Yeah.
It's an example of how not to do it.
Yep. We just had Evan Shapiro. I don't know if you know Evan, media cartographer, got a huge following in the US. He was saying the feeling he's getting from Cannes though is that people are willing to move and get things done, and start to trial. Do we just think that hasn't made it over to the retail media guys yet, the traditional guys?
I think there are companies that have maybe made a misstep initially and are like rapidly working to fix it as well.
We are hearing, particularly with their orchestration businesses that they've worked with, that there's a bit of churn and migration. It seems to be a bit of a common theme where maybe the promises haven't delivered what they were supposed to, and there seems to be a bit of churn.
The promise was great.
So the execution maybe didn't live up to the promise.
They got ahead of the skis on the promises. And because that was a successful narrative, they signed lots of customers and then couldn't deliver. And everyone wanted something slightly different. And you get into that customization space. It's not a good space to be in. You need a platform.
Yeah.
It should just be a repeatable multi-tenant.
There seems to be two schools of thought on the platforms too for retailers. Is the all you can eat, or the more modular one where you can, you know, have a central brain, I guess, and then modulate the different requirements with different suppliers.
What's your take?
Do you have a take on that?
I hear this debate come up in retail media a lot, and I totally understand how it would be nice to curate a customer journey down to the individual customer across channels. I look at MarTech more generally, and I still feel like the MarTech world, who's been trying to solve this for 20 years, still hasn't done a perfect job at it. Channels are still channels. So like, I like the idea. Who do you think's doing omni-channel orchestration well, if anyone?
I don't think that it's been cracked yet. I mean, we had Conor McKenna on the podcast before, and he said that that's the next wave for AI. And he says that's where we'll be here next year. That was his hot tip, that it's AI decisioning to enable things like that, because we're not quite there yet. We're on the precipice though.
But there's leaders.
And then I think, is there a space for these orchestration platforms when you might vibe code your own that taps to a bunch of MCP and API endpoints?
Yeah. And you've got you're really kind of vocal on the MCP, right? It's really interesting takes on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the 100% perfect technology. It's still
But it'll evolve.
inefficient.
Yeah.
It will evolve.
It's toddlers, right? We're toddler stage.
adopted by OpenAI and Gemini since its creation by Anthropic and Claude. It's moved quickly. You know, it's unblocking. How long does an API integration take? Okay, how long does 10 API integrations take?
Yeah.
And then you're going to maintain them. They've made a change to their API endpoint.
Everyone's got to.
That's
right. Yeah.
Re-go.
Yeah.
Whereas with MCP, we'll just call your MCP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's going to authenticate me. It's going to tell me what I can read only or read and write into this system or set of systems.
Yep.
And things are moving so quickly, coming back to the PMF stuff. You can't be sloshing about with 10 API integrations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dead on arrival.
We know all about those.
Yeah.
Hey, UCP.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Great. You know, I think if someone can enable the actual payment, transaction, logistics, delivery aspect of commerce, that isn't a critical component in an MCP architecture for a retailer.
Yep.
And I think that something that we did a white paper start of 2025, I think, on retail MCP, which is like a sub brand that we put out. And we basically said single MCP architectures are boring, but a multi capability there, a multi-tool capability in MCP architecture is where it gets really interesting. How do you take headless commerce a step further and literally make everything that we love and like on a retail storefront work, whether it's your loyalty, whether it's your price beat policy and your negotiation and your personalized pricing and your recommendation, cross-sell and upsell, and, you know, like any of that discovery piece, plus obviously the transaction and quick delivery and your order monitoring and just all of the functions that we take for granted on an app or a website.
How you deliver them into that experience.
100% of those things can be available
Absolutely, they
within
can.
AI, with an MCP architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, Voodoo seems we feel that we're working on towards that exact goal, and so early days yet though. There's still a lot of there's still some latency with using those protocols to do all those things at once. So user experience has to be at the forefront of where
Consumer's still got to be the center of everything you do.
100%. So what day do you go home?
What day is it today?
Exactly.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. So you're sitting on the plane. I've asked this of a few of our guests. You're sitting on the plane tomorrow night, and you're going. You're chuffed with Khan because what? What happened at Khan for you this time around?
The people thing,
People thing.
partnerships
More
are
connections.
stronger, more
Yeah.
connections. We found a real market in Germany. Catch up with those guys here.
Yep.
Great.
Congratulations,
We've
fantastic.
been driven around by Easy Studios and Andreas, who's our German counterpart here in a German car. So we've got the German connection in the car too. So shout out to our German friends.
Yep.
Das ist gut.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
Das ist very good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think.
James, absolute pleasure and overdue.
Yeah.
Overdue.
Absolutely.
Hey, Colin Lewis, welcome to Commerce Media Matters podcast.
Welcome.
Here, live in Cannes.
And thank you for having me here. I am sitting in the back of a van on a very hot day, so I'm delighted
know,
to be
how
in the air
can-
conditioning.
We have to now just share this at the start. You helped create this. Do you know why?
Do you know?
Do you remember?
You're gonna have to. I come up with a lot of stupid ideas. so you're gonna have to-
This is one of your greats.
genius.
When you had it on the podcast, well,
Yeah.
obviously you and I have a passion of vehicles,
Yeah.
and we wax lyrically about those. And
Yeah.
I came off that podcast and thinking, it'd be great if we'd be able to do a podcast in a cool old car. That'd be something on the Quasette, and it just wasn't possible. And I spoke to Rachel, our marketing director, has done a fantastic job with this, and she was a little concerned about how am I going to do that. And then Paula de Mexico saw this van,
went to
and
de
we're like,
Mexico.
now
Oh,
we
of
can.
course,
So
yeah.
you were the
did.
nucleus. You were the
Yeah,
start
but like
of this.
the thing is, Nick, you said it was going to be in the back of a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So just like
I sold you
just-
on that, didn't I?
I was
Yeah.
Like, oh, great! Sounds cool. And just which is going to be in a very fancy Mercedes.
So when did you get in?
I've been here since Sunday. Normally I
Sunday?
come in on the Sunday and leave on the
Yeah.
Thursday, and try and pack as much in. I was talking to somebody this morning that Can is just FOMO 24/7.
Yeah.
I need to be at Nick. I need to be at Paul. I need to be at this, and it's just
Yeah.
so it's a privilege to be here. If anybody's like, I know there's a lot of people crying for me right now, going, "Oh my God, he missed that meeting." But don't worry, it's a privilege to be here. It is really amazing, and if any of our listeners get a chance to come here, you should, because it's not anything like what you see in the photos. It's just a great place to meet lots of great people.
It really is,
Yeah.
and that's the theme, isn't it?
What have you been seeing? What are the insights you've gleaned from the first couple of days?
Well, it's funny.
Have you had time to think?
Well, I was thinking about this in a few different contexts, and the first one was friction points in commerce media, friction points in retail media, are now finally being solved. I saw a good few announcements today of over the last few days of we're now joining up on site with in store. We're doing this, we're doing that, and I'm like, they were all versions of we're solving friction points for retail media networks, and we're solving friction points for brands. So things that people would have been moaning about and saying the thing, they're actually starting to get that together. So that's the first one. So friction points being solved. Second one is, from say 4 years ago, where it was like little furtive meetings in various little restaurants, to where it was like the main event, say a year ago, 2 years ago. Now retail media is kind of part of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting
really.
one.
Yeah.
That's an interesting as well. So it's a legit conversation. Everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
So that's obviously very good. The third thing is, which our listeners might not know, but Canada is much more American focused than it is, say, European focused or Asian focused. And so the big retail media networks from the US are here. So the Walmarts, the Krogers and so on, they have a ton of events on. And they're also using Can for a ton of announcements. And all those announcements mapped to my first point, which is solving things that were not done. So Kroger had an announcement around integration with TikTok and so on. So we've got some very interesting things, and just at the kind of slightly meta level, how everybody is using Can as the place to launch what they're going to do for the next year.
Mm-hmm. I've just been to NRF in Singapore. You mentioned it's a very American-focused retail media. Do you think we're going to start seeing some of the other territories turn up to Cannes next year?
Well, from the creative and marketing side, you will definitely have, obviously with the likes of Dentsu and people like that. you do get a lot of Asian visitors here, and Brazilian and Latin American, but they're coming from the creative side, but not from the retail media, commerce media side. That hasn't yet happened. What I've noticed is say the Latin Americans go to stuff in the US, and Europeans, Australians, Kiwis, and the US come to Cannes. So
Yeah.
it'll probably happen. But I mean, my knowledge of Asia comes from back in the day. But they're when they're doing retail media, it's talking about apps. It's talking about quick delivery. That's not really
Yeah.
conversation
Yep.
around here
Yeah. Interesting.
Although DoorDash,
or here.
they're here.
We're enforced now, aren't they, this year?
Well, they made a huge, big announcement last year when they did that acquisition, and they're throwing money at things. But it's an interesting dynamic again for our listeners. The American companies, throw a lot of money at the problem, if you will.
Yeah.
Whereas, say, the Europeans, like you won't have, say, a big retail media network in Europe with a big splash and party doing all. They don't do it.
Owning some of the beach, or
owning some of the beach. It's a very different kind of vibe. That's for sure for the American ones.
Yeah. You've been spending a lot of time specifically in and amongst retail media networks in Europe. I've seen you in Poland.
Yeah.
You're getting around, don't you?
I did in the last year, and let me just try and work it out. Romania, Turkey, Poland 3 or 4 times, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Holland, obviously Germany, France, and doing a little.
Yeah, I don't know how you remember all that, but anyway. So where would you say the maturity level is at with the European-based retail media networks versus what we just said before in regards to the big American boys and girls?
So I have a view on this, Nick, which is, and I wrote about this in more detail. I'll try and encapsulate. And really what I was saying is the comparisons between the US and the rest of the world are completely pointless. Because if you just look at the sort of origin story of the US versus the rest of the world. So it's clearly US with these behemoths like Amazon and Walmart, we were able to build out these e-commerce businesses across a scale of 300 to 400 million people. And e-commerce was embedded in how people purchase. And I think about Walmart.com is doing 300 million alone. 100 billion alone in the last couple of years as well. So this scale does not exist anywhere else in the world. Outside of China.
Yep.
And so when we come to Europe, what was the origin story? The origin story obviously is in store. And even though many of these companies may have, even in Australia, have decent sized e-commerce businesses, but the origin story is in store.
Yeah.
So they're building out from that. So actually the way it's kind of working in my mind is the US can learn from Europe on in-store, because a lot of the in-store experience in the US is not great. And then Europe, if they want to build online, they can look to the behemoths.
Learning from both sides.
It's not better or worse.
Yeah.
In fact, I clamp down on anybody saying to me, we're more mature or less mature. What I saw in Helsinki 4 weeks ago was as sophisticated as you'll see anywhere in the world. And what I've seen at the far end of Europe, like in the far west of Europe and Portugal, with what the likes of Wharton are doing or Endless are doing, is as sophisticated as anywhere else.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's interesting. I'll add to that, and I haven't had as much trouble as you, but I'd say the Southeast Asian markets, I could probably learn from both. They're probably sitting in the middle there somewhere, where they're obviously a mobile-first consumer, and they are a bit slower on the uptake with developing out retail media networks, but they're looking at what's been done in both Europe and the US and taking the best of both worlds.
So the thing to think about for our listeners is, when you're looking at this comparison thing, the market size, as in like the population, and then the structure of retail in that market is actually really at the core of it. So if we take, say, in France, its structure of retail was like 4 or 5 big grocers, but lots of big DIY chains and so on, and everything centered out of Paris. If you look in the UK, there's like 10 grocery chains, and then there's a ton of all these other ones out there as well. It's a big retail business. But then if you look at, say, Singapore, the market isn't big enough itself, and it's app driven. That's its origin story. Yeah, and even your Malaysias and Thailands, they're big, but they don't have a Tesco in every street corner. Or if we go to Poland, they don't have Żabka with 12,000 stores across the country.
Yeah.
So the story for retail media in each market is actually about how the structure of retail is in that business. And Singapore, as an example, or Hong Kong, or any other place with a very large city like a Jakarta or say Manila, it's going to be app-based, it's going to be mobile-based, so they're going to combine the two, as you said.
Yeah. And it's interesting that really what I'm picking up from you when you're consulting and when you're providing strategy to these RMNs, it's based on the consumer, the country, the region, the infrastructure, and it can change. And that's what we're hearing from you. Question for you is, you always talk about, tell me if I'm wrong, by the way, I'm not just put words in your mouth, but
I always talk about a lot of
you
things.
do talk a lot,
and
but
a lot enough about cars, but we've
we'll
get
get to the glorious Porsches.
Yeah.
So connected consumer experience across all channels. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a theme that you quite often talk about. Yeah. How are there? My question is, with regard to these RMNs and how specific they need to be and how they actually operate, what are the commonalities that they need to get right? Whether it's just app based or whether it's more in store. Yeah.
This is a great question, though. So where are we coming from this? So if I'm a brand, and many brands across the world are basing their thinking on the book How Brands Grow. And in the book How Brands Grow, there's a ton of data over the last 50 years to say what you need to do is do broad reach, particularly for consumer packaged goods. And you need to have broad reach and build memory structures and build metal availability. It talks a little bit about physical availability in there, which is basically distribution by any other name.
Yep.
And the key thing within that then is that all of the major brands in the world, and therefore the biggest spenders on retail media, are actually have brand growth models, and and I've seen loads of them because I work on the brand side for about 50% of what I do. They all kind of say the same thing, which is we drive our brand through penetration, we drive our brand through brand growth through penetration, and what we're trying to do is do that through broad reach media.
Right.
Now, broad reach media is over, in any country.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we're not watching TV as we used to watch.
No.
Everybody's watching stuff. And the other one, as I do when I kind of wave around at various keynotes, when I pull out my phone and I go, look at the phone, who's spending too much time with somebody like myself who's like, in theory, should know what's going on and in theory shouldn't be seduced by this, find myself seduced by the short form vertical video format.
Yeah.
So if you see, that's two worlds now. First of all, the brands want this broad reach. The second aspect is we're living in this vertical video world where our attention is kind of very short and unfocused, if you will. And we're not really doing the kind of big blockbuster stuff, and maybe sponsorship is maybe taking up some of that role. Then you go to a retail media network and they're saying, hey, buy our sponsored product, buy our sponsored display, or I've got shoppable video, but they're selling it in isolation. And what you want to do is go to the brands and say, this kind of fragmented world we're living in, well, I can do complete connected experience for your brand that will deliver the broad reach that you need across individual customer journey touch points. Yeah. And that's what I'm really trying to get across is that by the way, I want to say that's not easy. I don't just mean from a technical perspective, but the way the retail media networks are structured is obviously they've got targets and goals, and they're kind of fragmented within what they're doing. So I'm not saying this is easy, but it's a thing you need to do, which is say, if I want to sell to Nick or I want to sell to Paul, I can't walk in and go, hey, buddy, buy my sponsored products. I've got to go, what's your brand goal? Okay, here's a connected experience I can use, and I can tell it to them.
Yeah.
So connected to that, then the tech, the Osmoses, the top sorts, the orchestration guys, are they helping solve that problem across the channels?
It's a really good question. Yes and no. So the individual retail media network is faced with a choice. Do I go best of breed? Do I go, all in, all combined tech stack? Now, we always say, if somebody asks us the question, we say, you kind of have to go best of breed, and you need to go plug in, plug out, because the technology, say, even within search, is quite specific. And of course, search is changing. And then the type of tools that are powering the search and the website is changing as well. So you kind of have to have these kind of plug and play things. But then they need to integrate into in store and offsite as well. And so it's not that they're not helping, but where we're currently structured, when you have best of breed, it's very difficult to create connected consumer experiences. And again, that's not a criticism, because it's the rational decision by the retail media networks to buy individual best of breed tech stack that works, but then the orchestration layer over that to make that work makes life tricky. So that's why we're seeing the rise of orchestration layers as well.
Yeah. Well, that's been a theme for us this week. Yeah, really that kind of orchestration and modular.
And there seems to be the two schools of thought. There seems to be the all-in-one that can orchestrate everything, or there's the sort of
or the modular play.
Modular play.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I lean towards that just simply because if you guys understand technology as well as anybody else, that it's probably better. The world fragments a lot faster. We get a lot. The specialization is going to be the future of where we're at. So, Paul becoming an expert on sponsored search and making it work and click-through rates and applying AI into it, and you can't have that person who is also then an expert at in-store. It's always going to be a lot more fragmented and specialized.
Yep.
So therefore, I think orchestration is going to be much more of a thing. But an orchestration at another level, which is, we're adding more tech onto everything. Nobody has all the capabilities. The orchestration layers are going to have to work to stop you having to hire people who are specialists.
Right. We're
Gotcha.
hearing, though, that most of the retailers are to start experimenting and they're actually putting things into action now with AI, and that seems to be around these efficiency plays and other bits and pieces. What's your thoughts?
It's funny, it's a good word there. You use the efficiency play, because that's what happens at the outset in many sort of new technologies. We use it as a sort of, if you will, efficiency stroke cost cutting or cost capping approach. And I think that's what we're going to see starting out, because that's the easiest one to sell in to these.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to hire another 10 headcount.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get this thing done.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that. Oh, okay, great. Let's go do that.
CFOs hate a head count, don't
Yeah. So the two kind of use cases. One is, if you will, an efficiency play.
they? Yeah.
And then there's the scaling,
Yep.
which is the other side of that efficiency play. Because if I need to do, I'm a retail media network, I want to scale the amount of brands I'm working with, but then the brands say, hey, I've only got this level of assets. I need to improve the level of assets, scale the level of assets. So I want to have the assets tailored to my store in, Cardiff, my store in Edinburgh. Okay, so I'm going exponential in terms of the demand for creative and images and stuff that works. So that's the second play, if you will, on AI that is going to, what I'm seeing already, it's going to rapidly change. And so efficiency, scaling, and then we'll move to, actually, now I've solved the efficiency and scaling. We've got tools to do that. I didn't have to hire 10 brand new agencies. I didn't have to hire 10, 100 new staff. Then you move to, how do I optimize those for creative? And how do I optimize those for results? So you're not going to optimize for results starting out.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So we had Connor McKenna on earlier, and he said that he thinks the next wave with AI in this space is the decisioning piece, is the automated decisioning, because you're going to have the data, you're going to have the infrastructure laid down.
I've seen those demos. They're very interesting.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you see the demos, you don't just go, well, that's a very interesting demo. I'm going to now go off and have a glass of rosé or whatever. You start kind of going, okay, now I see it. And then a couple of things happen. A kind of little junction happens. A V in the road happens. You go, oh, judgment and taste of what the output is ends up becoming more important. So bizarrely enough, experience is going to become more important, and knowledge and expertise.
Humor experience.
It's going to be a little bit harsh on a person who's 22, 23, who, I don't know, see, I can remember that when I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's going to be quite an interesting one. But of course, the paradox is that person with taste and judgment is typically older and not engaging in these technologies. So we have another paradox.
Yeah. Look, this is great. You've talked about it. Retail media networks, agentic. Is there friction there? Is there, is there a concern around the impact on the models for retail media networks? Is the conversation being had legitimately, or is it kind of like heads in the sand? Is there any concern there? What do you think?
Every year you come to Cannes, there's a new kind of story. And this year the story is agentic. Last year was AI on its own. This year it's agentic.
Yeah.
And the really great companies like your Procter and Gamble's and Cokes and stuff like that, people in this world who I work with, start with saying, you got to start with the shopper. Everything is around the shopper.
Yep.
And so it's a good way to cut the Gordian knot of what is actually going on by saying, how can I look at this from a shopper perspective? Now, there's some distinctions on this, because the shopper, say, in Athens is very different to the shopper in Madrid, is very different to the shopper in Amsterdam, very different to the shopper in Sydney. Well, what happens is, and I'll point your finger, Kerry, on this one here, is that many of the stories and many things we hear bring an American frame of reference.
Yes.
And so if you're living on the Upper West Side or Upper East Side of New York, where life is kind of friction free and you got lots of money, you're going to be playing around with all this sort of stuff. But the rest of the world does not adopt all this stuff. Most generationally new technologies can take about 20 years. I mean, e-commerce really now with
True too.
I was blabbing on about this in 2006 thinking I was a great person, but actually it's 20 years.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, and then you look at the shopper and you say, shopper, what are the shoppers are looking for needs, and certain categories like grocery are needs that are all the time, very low decision making required. So I'm not really going to be looking for, maybe I'll do a recipe thing, but unless you're some sort of mad person who's looking for brand new recipes every day and, have dinner parties every night. No, that's it's a very specific use case. Then we move on to things that are only purchased every now and then. Well, that's when you're going, right, okay, the best washing machine that doesn't have this and has that and it can do the other. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But still, or maybe you could say cars or travel. I'm like, yeah, but if you look at it purely from this, who's got the stuff? Yeah, the models don't have the stuff. You still have to go to a store. You still have to go to the e-commerce website.
It's still a DC, right?
Yeah. I like what are retailers? They're really good logistics businesses, and they're really good at selecting products.
Yeah.
So if I'm, say, a retailer in, whether it's in Australia, Greece, Kazakhstan, they all do the same thing. They buy products in, they put them on a virtual or real shelf, and they sell them.
Yep.
That's a logistics thing and a model around, buying and category management. No way a model's going to be doing this. It's never going to happen. So somebody will still have to go to retailers regardless.
Yeah, right. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, Colin, we've got 5 minutes left. What is your hot tip for what we can see in the next 3 to 6 months in retail media?
I think there's going to be a lot more of this. How do we integrate with everything else? Once the initial announcement starts, then more come to it. So we're going to see some of this rubber hits the road stuff. Also, and again, subjectively, because I'm seeing within the brands, but I'm not in every single brand in the world. But what I'm seeing is brands having their own internal discussions, getting it together compared to, say, 2 years ago, where the questions are a little more naive.
Do you think that we're going to see a bit more partnerships to help with consolidation? Like we've talked a bit this week about.
There's been a few of those announcements.
Yeah.
I'm always skeptical on the consolidations, and I don't mean skeptical as in they're a bad idea. I think making them work is the thing. I think they're a great idea. I think making them work is hard because retailers by definition are very competitive.
Yeah.
So they're always going to have to be out of category.
Well, Colin,
wow.
It's always a pleasure. This is I think this is my 5th can, and I think I've seen you every time here. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, thank
you.
you.
Always great having you on.
It's great. No, thank you very much for the time here.
These conversations really put the whole week into perspective.
They do. But before we wrap up Can, we've still got one more episode. We'll be joined by News Corp Australia, McKinsey, and Seen This to explore partnerships, strategy, and the future of commerce media.
We'll see you in the finale.
See you there.
Thank you for listening to the Commerce Media Matters podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow and subscribe. We're always on the pulse of the ever-changing landscape of commerce media, ready to share the newest trends, insightful perspectives, and expert opinions with you. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep making media that matters. This podcast is executively produced and edited by Priya Tahazadeh, with co-producers Sandy Ho and me, Rachel Fang. This podcast is recorded on the lands of the Bidjigal, Gadigal, and Wurundjeri people, and we wish to acknowledge them as the traditional owners of the land.